Greetings Space Marines, FiOth here once again, and this time I'm bringing you my first build for the Vanguard class. When I put up the poll for which class I should grind next during the stream, I wanted Bulwark to be the one picked because I really wanna finally be able to assist people with the banner. But people picked Vanguard and I was dumbstruck. But then it dawned on me, the glorious capabilities of this class are heinously overlooked by the community because people think, well, it's a guy with a grappling hook, what the hell can he offer in a game like this? But man, this class is a slayer of Majores, and we're gonna break down the tree here in order to optimize the efficiency. Let's get to it! So as always, I am having everything reset here and I will be placing them as I explain why I pick what I pick. Stay until the end so you understand the thought process and how you should work with this build. Starting from column 1, you have 3 choices. Moving target. Each melee attack you land reduces the range damage you take by 1%. Melee mastery. Melee damage increased by 10% against Majores level and higher enemies. Upper hand. After perfectly timed parry or dodge, you do not lose control and you cannot get staggered. 100% melee mastery. Your job in the squad is to destroy the chonkers, and with melee mastery you get 10% added damage, no questions asked. This is the one to go for. Second column, duelist. Perfect parry window increased by 50%. Close combat focus, you take 20% less melee damage but 10% more range damage. Conviction, the moment your armor is fully depleted you take 15% less damage. Some people like duelist for the 50% added window, but with a fencing knife you get an insane amount of parry potential overkill, missing 20% added defenses against melee enemies. You will be fighting in melee, people. This is what you should go for. The 10% more range damage that you receive can be mitigated if you just grapple the shooter, get in their face and shove their shit in. So this is the one we're picking, no questions asked. Third column, retribution. After you're grabbed or knocked back, you deal 20% more melee damage for 10 seconds. Consecutive execution, killing 10 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charge by 1 3-minute cooldown. And honed reactions, when your health is less than 50%, your perfect dodge window is doubled. 1000% consecutive execution. Any class that can use a melta or a gun that can take out a big chunk of enemies without having to stop to reload should always use consecutive execution, unless the alternative is Ultra Instinct Dragon Ball style. This is insane. You will be killing the small shits with your melta in one shot. Hordes of them will fall and you will get a grenade every 3 minutes. If you have a melta bomb and you capitalize on this, you get your melta bomb back. It is insane. We're picking it. Team melee champion. All squad members deal 15% more melee damage. Unmatched zeal. Mini finishers on extremist enemies. Additionally, a small amount of health. And in a fire, all squad members can restore the ability charge by 15% by performing finishes. This is not good, although it gives a little bit of health to everyone. The amount you give them is ridiculously small, and you only activate this when finishing extremist enemies. How many extremists will you find through a ruthless run? 5? 10? If you get 2% out of every one of these executions, and you have to be the performer of all of these executions, you will give everyone back 20% of a health bar, which is literally one hit when you don't have shields from any enemy in the game. This is not good. This needs a buff. Melee champion is good, but in a fire is super good. Everyone gets cooldowns by performing finishes. Finishers are the bread and butter of the combat system of this game. 100% we're going in a fire. Restless Fortitude. After a diving kick, you take 10% less range damage for 10 seconds. Shockwave. Diving kick additional deals damage in a 5-meter radius. Collateral damage. Dive kick additional deals a small amount of damage to enemies on the way to the grapple launcher's target. 100%. Shockwave. You get in there, hit them, disorient the small ones. You have a moment to catch your breath and plant the rest of your attack. This is great. We do 6th. Zone of Impact. Performing a finisher with a grapple launcher deals a small amount of damage to nearby enemies. Tenacity. After killing 10 enemies in rapid succession, diving kicks damage increases by 25% for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Tip of the spear. Enemies hit by diving mean take 15% more range damage for 10 seconds. We're picking Tip of the Spear because you go in and you debuff the range defenses and your allies can rain hell on them. Pairs perfectly with a tactical or a heavy so they can mow them down more easily. Also notice how it says enemies. This works perfectly with Shockwave because you have a 5-meter radius of affected enemies whenever you use your diving kick. Thrill of the Fight. After perfectly timed parry or dodge, you take 15% less damage. Grim Determination. When grappling launcher is a cooldown, weapon damage increased by 10%. Combat Readiness. Grappling launcher recharges 20% faster. I'm gonna give you two choices here. According to what you pick in the team column, you might or might not wanna get Combat Readiness because your cooldown for the grapple is not that lengthy, and with finishes you're shaving off a lot of time every time you rip something to shreds. So this is kinda overkill. This, however, whenever any of your grappling hooks is on cooldown, you get 10% more damage. That is 10% for your Melta, 10% for your knife, 10% for your whatevers. Highly recommend you pick Grim Determination, but if you picked anything else here, you might wanna go with Combat Readiness. Signature, the final column. Performing a finisher with a grappling launcher restores its charge. Emperor's Blessing, taking lethal damage restores all armor instead of incapacitating you. Cooldown 3 minutes. And Adrenaline Rush, melee kills on Majoris or higher enemies restores health by 1%. You can go for this, or you can go for this. For me, this brings great value because the 2 sealed segments that you will replenish instead of going down might turn the tide of the fight. The Vanguard only gets 2 sealed segments though, and you will have to capitalize on this 1 revive per 3 minutes immensely. You have to be precise, you have to be immaculate. A very good friend of mine, one of the best players I've ever played with, says Adrenaline Rush is doing more for him because your job is to kill Majoris or higher tier enemies, and whenever you do this, you replenish 1% of your health. You'll be cleaning a lot of those enemies and you will be getting a lot of health back, and this will be done consistently without any cooldown. Any of these two will do it. You pick the one you think is better, and please let me know why you picked what you picked so I can optimize my build as well. Now let's go into guns. For self-explanatory reasons, at the moment, mid of September 2024, we're picking the Melta. The Melta is broken AF, its damage is fine, but crowd control is off the hook and it over heals your contested health. This is a proven glitch and it will eventually be nerfed in some shape or form. For the time being though, and for the needs of this build, we will be using the Melta. For the perks, what I suggest is you go bottom row from left to right to reach perpetual range. Effective range increases by 1 meter. Then in the versions, you go top left relic and you have a range of 4 on a shotgun that has a firepower of 14 and piercing of 10 and overheals you and crowd controls the shit out of enemies and staggers elites. I don't need to say anything more. This is the gun. Have fun slaying them. Only 1 pistol option. We're picking top left relic, and for perks we go with the bottom line just like in the previous builds, and for our melee we go with a knife. Top right relic, this is the fencing one. For our perk 3 on the knife, go up to the 3rd column, pick both the damage nodes, then go to the 5th, pick both chaos and tyrannid, and then go to relic blow and get the last one. Enemies hit by whirlwind slash deal 30% less damage for 4 seconds. Whirlwind slash is light heavy. It is good, it's good AoE, and if you're not the focus of the enemy's assault, you can pull it off quite easily. It's 3 fast attacks and 1 charge. Overall, the knife does not have a very good perk tree, but it has the best 1v1 damage potential, and what you will be doing in this game as the Vanguard is single out the big targets and kill them fast and efficiently. So we're going with the knife. The chainsword is a perfect alternative. As you can see here, you can copy my tree, and the version is the top right relic, but I suggest you stick to the knife because it is an overall better dueling weapon. This is it, Space Marines, my very first build for the Vanguard. I hope you enjoyed. I am loving this class to death. It is fantastic. I hope you found this useful. Pick any of these 2 builds to keep growing your character in Space Marine 2, and visit the streams for more awesome content. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!